All right, let's get into this. For weeks now, the air's just been thick with rumors, whispers, and, well, even outright denials about a figure who is genuinely larger than life. I'm talking, of course, about the wrestling icon Hulk Hogan, his recent health issues, and then ultimately his passing. And it's been a whirlwind, really, a real test of how we navigate information these days. So today we're doing a deep dive, not just into the confirmed truth about his final days, but also into the massive legacy he leaves behind.
Yeah, and what makes Hogan's story, I think, such a unique way to look at our modern information landscape is, well, here's a public figure used to controlling the narrative, back before all this digital stuff. And suddenly, his most private moments, his health struggles are being played out in real time on social media. It's something else. So this deep dive will be pulling from news reports, official statements, personal accounts too, navigating that whole complex web. The mission really is to pull out the most important bits of info, try to bring some clarity to all the noise, and give you a full picture of what happened, placing it, in the context of his incredible career.
And speaking of noise,
Ugh.
that tumultuous lead-up, it really kicked off just last month, didn't it? That's when those first really alarming claims about Hogan's health started popping up. They came from a former acquaintance, Bubba the Love Sponge. He basically said that after spinal surgery, Hogan wasn't recovering well, went so far as to claim his family was flying to a Florida hospital to say their goodbyes.
Yeah.
That really sent shockwaves, I think.
Oh, definitely. But those claims, they were pretty much immediately and very swiftly debunked. That's a key part of this early story. His close friend, Eric Bischoff, he came out and directly denied Hogan was in any kind of near-death situation. And Hogan's wife, Sky, she actually went on Instagram specifically to shut down the coma rumors. She said, no, he's definitely not in a coma. His heart is strong and there was never any lack of oxygen or brain damage. None of those rumors are true. She added he was recovering from that big surgery, the 4-level ACDF. Anterior cervical discectomy and fusion, which she pointed out is a really intense surgery, long layered healing process. That seemed to calm things down for a bit.
For a bit, yeah. But just a few days before his passing was confirmed, this was July 22nd, 2025. New reports came out, threw everything back into question. Bubba the Love Sponge, he popped up again with an update. This time he was saying his sources claimed Hogan was not near death, not comatose, but still, quote, very bad shape after the surgery. And it got even more specific, actually. Bubba's co-host, Seth Kushner, he claimed, Jimmy Hart told my source, Hogan's not doing well. He can't speak. His trachea or whatever was damaged and he's having problems and it does not look good. Then Bubba added more details, saying Hogan had been moved home to a hospital bed. Basically saying they've done all they can at the hospital now. Yeah, just keeping him comfortable at his house in a hospital bed. He even described this whole supposed secret transport, likening it to Michael Jackson type stuff. Unmarked ambulances loading docks, middle of the night.
Right, and this constant back and forth, this
Yeah.
this tug of war between official denials and this kind of insider speculation. It really shows something interesting, doesn't it? It sort of underscores this distrust some people have for the official word, preferring this perceived inside scoop, even if it gets debunked. Hogan's case really highlights that. Because right on the heels of that same day, July 22nd, you had a counter-narrative. This came from Jacques Rougeau, former WWE guy, longtime friend of Hogan's. Rougeau publicly pushed back against Bubba's claims, said he talked directly to Hogan's son, Nick, and that the situation was, quote, far less threatening. He even posted it on Facebook. Said something like, for all of you spreading rumors about my man, Hulk Hogan being between life and death, you were wrong. He's recuperating slowly from a neck operation, but it's going well. I just talked with his son, Nick, and he told me all is well. He's getting better.
Yeah, it was striking how consistently the people actually close to Hogan seemed to be pushing back against Bubba's accounts. But, it was also, it was worrying that Hogan himself hadn't said anything publicly about his health since all this started. And he'd been out of the public eyes since, May 2025. It just raises that big question, right? How do you, the listener, figure out what's true when the information is so fragmented, so contradictory?
That's a crucial question. It shows how easily information or maybe misinformation can spread and get twisted. Yeah. Usually with a public figure, you're looking for consistent, direct statements from verified family official reps, not really second or third hand stuff from, acquaintances. The fact that Hogan himself wasn't communicating publicly, well, in hindsight, that was probably a pretty significant sign that something was wrong, even if the specific rumors weren't accurate. And that leads us right to the confirmation.
Yeah, it does. The shift from all that speculation to confirmed reality happened really fast. Thursday, July 24th, 2025.
Yeah.
TMZ Sports, they broke the exclusive. 8:36 a.m. Pacific time. Headline, Hulk Hogan dead at 71. The official report said medics went to his home in Clearwater, Florida, early Thursday morning. There was a 911 call about a cardiac arrest. Police cars, EMTs, the whole scene. He was carried out on a stretcher into an ambulance. Then RadarOnline.com also confirmed it. 11:55 a.m. Eastern time. Same cause, cardiac arrest at home.
And here's where it gets, well, almost surreal. Just shows you the weirdness of the internet age. There's this bizarre thing happening on Reddit, a post titled, "Heartbreaking. Hulk Hogan has sadly passed away today at 71 years old." Okay. But this post was made a year ago on a subreddit called Lairleys. It was explicitly meant as a joke, a false claim. Yeah. But then on July 24th, 2025, like in the minutes and hours right after he actually died, this old lie post suddenly became disturbingly accurate. You started seeing recent comments flooding in on that old thread, comments timestamped like 8 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago. People were just astonished. You know, this aged poorly well. He just died, literally died, lol. And is anyone here minutes after he actually passed? Hulk Hogan is dead. R.I.P. to a wrestling legend.
Wow.
It's a stark example of how digital footprints work. These weird, unexpected coincidences online highlights how unpredictable information can be. It's almost like a side story about information itself.
That is genuinely wild. Like, the internet itself has a sense of irony sometimes. But okay, shifting gears a bit. As crazy as the whole information saga around his final days was, it almost feels small compared to the immortal legacy Hulk Hogan leaves behind.
Right.
I mean, before him, pro wrestling was different, catered to a narrower audience maybe. He just fundamentally changed it, turned it into family entertainment, his whole persona, the theatrics. It was magnetic for kids, for their parents. He basically supercharged the sport.
Yes.
And the red and yellow, the signature moves.
Yeah.
Instantly recognizable. Everywhere.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating about Hogan's career trajectory is how he managed to reinvent himself. Not just once, but multiple times, really. Think about 1996. That was a huge, bold move. He flipped from being the ultimate good guy, the hero.
Hulkamania running wild.
Exactly. To suddenly being the shocking villain, creating the New World Order, the NWO, becoming Hollywood Hulk Hogan. That just propelled him, and wrestling itself to even greater fame. It showed incredible adaptability, you know, real drawing power. Now, sure, some original Hulkamaniacs probably felt, I don't know, betrayed, but even they were likely drawn into that NWO drama. It was just a masterclass in evolving a character.
And his relationship with the WWE Hall of Fame, that also had its own drama, its own twists and turns. Kind of mirrors his whole career, actually. He was first inducted back in 2005. Then remember, he was removed in 2015. That was after the scandal over those comments he made on that secret recording, which, you know, he later sued Gawker over that recording and won big time. But even that wasn't the end of the story. He got reinducted into the Hall of Fame a second time in 2020, but as part of the NWO, solidifying his place, warts and all, I guess.
And zooming out even further, his appeal, it just went way beyond wrestling. He really transcended the sport. Think about his movie career. Started way back in '82, Rocky III, Thunder Lips. Iconic.
Oh, yeah, Thunder Lips.
Right. Then he starred in No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny, and then there was reality TV. Hogan Knows Best on VH1 was a huge hit. Him, Linda, Nick, Brooke, the whole family. He even dipped into politics, remember? Starred at the 2024 Republican National Convention. Really brought the theatrics there, too. And his last known project, this was just back in May 2025, he was launching an amateur wrestling league, Real American Freestyle. First event was supposed to be August 30th on Fox Nation.
It feels important, though, to circle back to his health, that recurring theme. It puts those early rumors, maybe even the later ones, into a different kind of context. It really highlights the sacrifice, the physical toll. He had, scores of surgeries, all directly from wrestling injuries over the years. There's that striking quote he gave Harvey Levin on Objectified. He said he had no original body parts left. Just wow. Think about that. It really puts into perspective the price he paid for that larger-than-life persona, way beyond what we saw in the ring. And it's absolutely crucial, I think, for understanding why there were so many rumors, so much genuine concern about his health in his later years. So yeah, we've kind of walked through the messy reports, the weird digital echoes, and then the final sad confirmation of Hulk Hogan's passing. And alongside that, just the sheer scale of his influence. It's pretty clear that while the headlines right at the end focus on his health, his actual impact, it reads so much further than just the wrestling ring.
Exactly. So thinking about all this, what does it mean for you listening? Hogan's career, full of these dramatic comebacks, public controversies, and then this recent storm of information and misinformation around his health. It really pushes a big question for all of us, I think. In this age where, like we saw with Reddit, digital footprints are basically permanent and info spreads instantly, how do we critically evaluate the stories we're told? especially when they blur that line between, say, gossip and actual fact. What responsibility do we have in shaping those narratives, or at least in how we consume them? Hogan's story, his final days, his enduring legacy, it's a powerful reminder that for these public figures, the story keeps unfolding, keeps getting reinterpreted, lives on in this digital world long after that final headline hits. Something to think about.